Another major Hollywood franchise has just died, and a film exec over it embarrassed on stage. Today we'll show you everything as Spider-Man spinoffs at Sony face the banhammer. So sorry, Craven, sorry, Venom, sorry, Madam Web. It's start over time again for the not MCU. Hello, folks. Hello, friends. Welcome back yet again. What a beautiful day to join together in explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. Very rare that we see a film executive out of Hollywood embarrassed on stage. It just doesn't happen. It's not part of the etiquette. But that's exactly what happened with Sony and called out for crawling to Disney and begging them, please help us with Spider-Man. Today we'll show it all to you. Click the like button, drop a comment, and here we go. Sony is getting ready to reset and reboot the Spider-Man universe, at least the spinoffs, but that's not the story here. Perhaps it's a big story. There's plenty of story to go around, but what if we told you that there's a Hollywood executive in charge of this who actually got embarrassed and visibly so being questioned about it? We'll go there in just a second. The Hollywood Handle is reporting this. It says, Sony Pictures CEO confirms they will be fresh rebooting the Spider-Man universe spinoff films after Craven flopped. Now, before we show you the executive embarrassed by all of this, Marvin, I know you have some strong opinions about what they're trying to do here. I don't see a way to do Spider-Man spinoff movies really without Spider-Man. He's got to at least appear. He's got to be somewhere near, like, you know, it's kind of like the Batman stuff. You can do the Penguin, but somewhere, some way, you got to mention Batman's on the way, or else I don't know what the point is. Same thing with Spider-Man.
The way you do a Spider-Man universe, the way they want to do it, is not to make movies out of all of his villains who don't make sense without Spider-Man. The way you do it is you do it about variants of Spider-Man. You have the Spider-Verse for a reason. You can do a Spider-Man 2099 movie. You're doing Spider-Noir on Amazon right now. There's all sorts of different Spider-Man that you could do. The thing about a Spider-Man movie is it has to have some version of Spider-Man in it.
Spider-Pig, Spider-Pig. Does whatever. No, you don't want that one? Not that variant? Hey, Culture, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, gentlemen?
You know, Culture, I'm going to put you right in the middle. Marvin seemed to be shaken by your presence there. Very good to see you, Culture. Let's dive in now to this Hollywood exec. And where are we going, folks? Well, hang with us. Here we go to part 2. And this is a YouTube channel you need to be checking out. It's The Town with Matt Bellany. Now, Matt Bellany runs PUCK, Puck News, and they cover Hollywood. But it's good to see that even when the big ones step into the YouTube space, they have to start in the same place everybody else does. And so The Town with Matt Bellany is starting with 3,000 subscribers and their viewership. You know, they're getting a couple thousand views for every video. We wish them extremely well. We hope you'll go over there and subscribe. This is the channel. It's at The Town Podcast, The Town with Matt Bellany. They're getting involved in what we do here on YouTube, and we wish them all the success in the world. We're appreciating the success because we're going to play a brief clip of this. They are talking with the Sony Pictures CEO, and we've very seldomly seen someone be embarrassed this way. This is what Bellany does. This is the question that gets asked regarding the Spider-Man spinoff universe and how poorly Spider-Man at Sony has gone.
In the Spider-Man franchise, not at the animated Spider-Verse. Is the larger Spider-Verse dead? Are you going to go back to those at some point?
Yes.
You will.
Yes.
But it'll be a fresh reboot.
Yes.
New people. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And how is the partnership with Marvel going?
It's great.
Because that was a big moment. It was sort of a tail between the legs moment to have to go to Disney and say, listen,
I think it was,
we kind of ran this into the ground. We need you to bring this back.
Speaking of that, putting that question that way, we have a character. It's called Mr. Negativity. It would be really good.
All right. The pushback is there. That is a very embarrassing strike on the Sony CEO. Ron, I saw you responding, it's quite a thing to see him take that, the tail between the legs moment. You had to go to Disney and say, we suck, fix us, please.
I just think the fact that he even said the name of the character wrong is hilarious. It's not Mr. Negativity, it's Mr. Negative, but that's beside the point. It's really funny. Yeah, I mean, they botched the entire, what did they have? Morbius, and then they tried to tie it in with the MCU in an end credit scene in a false trailer with Spider-Man's picture in it. And it was so funny to watch the whole attempting, right? I mean, constant attempts to make something out of this. And, it's funny because all the movies I watched, I haven't watched Craven yet. I watched Madam Web. Madam Web, I think, is a fantastic movie to put on while you're trying to fall asleep because it's the most boring thing I've ever seen. Like, you can literally put that thing on, you'll be asleep in 5 minutes. None of these movies, there's so much about them that don't make sense. The Madam Web, for example, the whole, what do they call it? Voiceover. It wasn't voiceover. It was just, they just really botched the villain and his voice and the whole. It's just so I mean, it was so bad. And it's funny because Spider-Man is such a popular character. Like, I guess, isn't Spider-Man the highest selling character of all superheroes as far as merchandise is concerned and all of that?
Well, he's popular regardless of the movies, right?
Right. So to botch a spider universe, especially when you have, and I think Marvin alluded to this, you have the Sony Spider-Man, the Into the Spider-Verse movies. You visit all kinds of different Spider-Men and Spider-People in those movies. You have all of those characters available to you, and you do this instead. I don't see how it could be anything but embarrassing.
Well, they're definitely embarrassed. They're getting called out about this, but they're going to try to do a reboot. But again, like Marvin said, unless it's got variants of Spider-Man, I don't know how you can succeed with this. I think you're going to be right back to doing $100 million with budgets that far exceed. You're going to have flop after flop after flop. And this is not the way Sony wants to go about having one of the most valuable IPs, valuable brands out there, to let this land and with such a cultural thud, So I don't know, Jonas, what's the answer here for Sony? How do they go forth and find some kind of non-embarrassing solution?
I think that they have to do what has been done for a very long period of time, is that you make one good movie. Unfortunately, I think the number of Spider-Man characters that can stand on their own are probably about 3 right now. They could do a Spider-Gwen movie, but unfortunately, they've turned Spider-Gwen into a Miles Morales character in a bizarre twist of fate here. I think that for as long as Tom Holland is Spider-Man, Marvel owns the public mind space around that. That even if he leaves and they do Spider-Man movies on their own, people will still remember it in that direction. Sony needs to find something other than Spider-Man that makes money. But if they could get into the cultural zeitgeist the way they did in the 90s, where you have, I don't know, maybe actual animation. Well, no, sorry, Disney owns the rights to that right now. I think they just need to make good movies to where they have the public fantasizing again about where this could go. Unfortunately, Craven, Morbius, Madam Web, the Bad Bunny El Muerto film, these are not things that make the audience go, wow, I wonder what that story could be. It makes the audience go, oh, you're really trying to milk Spider-Man. And nobody wants to go and pay money to show up to the theater and attempt to be entertained by that. The only thing you get are the people that are like, I'm going to go see this because I want to be the first one to tell my friends just how bad it is. And you can't take a full family to a show like that. That's one ticket.
Jonas, under the rules of the contracts they have, are they allowed to go back to Andrew Garfield and finish do a trilogy and finish that out with the Amazing Spider-Man?
I don't know. I think that they're allowed to make alternate Spider-Man films.
Does it be $1 billion? I mean, that would make $1 billion if they did it right.
Yes. They control the IP. They can do whatever they want. They made Into the Spider-Verse. They're doing Spider Noir. They can go back and do Andrew Garfield. They can go back and they can do any other Spider.
So why are they not? Why get on stage and be embarrassed, Marv? What's the point in this? Why don't they just do something that works instead of all this silly stuff? Madam Web.
I would assume that Marvel has probably told them not to do this. And I think at a certain point in time, you have to realize that Marvel is not the be all end all. They have crashed their entire cinematic universe. You own the only Marvel IP that is still paying off at the box office. Well, that and Deadpool. So you own one half of the Marvel IPs that are actually still paying off and making $1 billion. You do whatever you need to do with that. You do but you make sure it has a Spider Person in it. You do a Spider-Ham movie. You do the Spider-Man anime stuff. You do all of it.
Let's go back to the interview real quick. I want to play just one more clip of it, and then we'll get commentary from Ron and Culture.
Much credit for it. It was at the very beginning of my tenure and the tail of end of Amy's tenure, but I think it was an extremely smart and mature decision by Michael Linton and Amy Pascal, who are excellent executives, first rate. But the part that I quarrel with, run into the ground, no. It's an $800 million movie. That's some ground. I think, again, this was a question of opportunity because, yes, first of all, Marvel's great. Kevin Feige's a genius, and I can talk about that in a second. But it wasn't just bringing Marvel in to produce for us. It was actually we were able to introduce the new Spider-Man with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man.
Connected to the narrative.
But they're getting almost nothing out of it other than when Tom Holland appears because it's connected to Marvel. So they haven't used this to go into the other stuff and make it great. And the money that is being lost here, Ron, Culture, the money that is being laid on the table and never taken by having all of this just crap. I mean, it really is crap, these spinoffs. So if they're going to reboot it, they need to change the strategy.
Tell you what, if they want to do something that would be interesting, if they could do it right, a Spider-Man K-pop Demon Hunters crossover. Not sure how that would work.
I don't think the animation's the way forward. I think the last Miles Morales movie underperformed. In fact, like anything Sony has allowed Amy Pascal to touch has underperformed. So when you look at like the first success that they had with an alternate character, which was Venom, that film made over $800 million. I'm not sure if that's what he was referring to in that clip or not, but it was really the only alternate film that versus against a budget, it really performed. It definitely made a profit. Things like Madam Web has already been suggested here. Were not good ideas in the first place, especially if you're going to vary too far from the original story, and that's exactly what happened. I would encourage the studios to be more creative with the things that they do own, but I need them to be more creative anyway. I don't think that going back into the villains of the various rogues galleries of the various superhero characters is helpful at all. DC's making that terrible mistake with Clayface. So we're gonna start to see, in my opinion, just widespread underperformance from any of these things. I think the larger Marvel universe is already, dying, and I think Spider-Man is the only viable character because, as Ron brought up at the beginning of the segment, he's the most popular superhero standalone, made the most amount of money, not just from the original 3 films in the first trilogy, but just because it sells the most lunchboxes and t-shirts and everything else, which is why they weren't in a huge hurry to change Marvel Superhero Island at Universal, because that particular area sells a ton of gear, and like I said, you hang on to the things that are successful. But hanging on to the ideas that expanding the Spider-Verse hanging on to that idea that's a good plan is ridiculous, in my opinion.
I got to say, I'm starting to agree with you. Folks, we'll pay attention to it, but embarrassment seldom happens to an executive on stage. This time it did, and it all has to do with just how poorly those Spider-Man spinoffs have been doing. Hey, Bellany, if you'd like to call us, we have suggestions for who to put up on the stage with you. Starting with Bob, you figure out which Bob it might be. Often as we get ready to wrap these up, folks, you'll hear us say, keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun. And the reason we do it is because we appreciate you. It's true, we do. And we want you to have a good time. Thank you for giving us the great time of spending time with you. Folks, on the way out the door, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell, and drop a comment down below because you matter. Your thoughts matter. Who cares what the legacy corporate deadbeat media tells you? You really are important. And we're a testament to that. We wouldn't be here without folks just like you. And since we've said it, we'll say it once more. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
There are men who go to sea to find fortune. Men who go to sea to lose themselves. I went to sea to find honor. Since I was a boy, I was forged in discipline, faith, duty. They called me loyal. They called me righteous. They called me useful. But the sea does not care what a man is called. Only what he becomes when the world takes everything from him. I prayed for peace, and the world answered with only death. I have seen honor used as a mask, and sin used as a shelter. The devil walks plainly in this world without shame or fear, and now the ocean carries whispers of men who believe they can burn faith out of this world. They are wrong. My name is Jonathan Reed. My story has only just begun.